Welcome back to Softcore History. I'm your host for the week, Dan Regester, joined as always by Rob Fox.
Hello.
And very special guest, reunited. It is Iconoblast.
Yeah.
It is Coop. It is Joel. It is a four-man show.
The Icono boys are here. No game show today, though. We're just fucking partying.
Unfortunately.
Former Iconoblast, now we're Crime Corner boys.
Yeah, crime boys.
This
Crime
is
boys.
essentially like almost like a reunion tour just because we need the money at this point.
Yeah, these are the other two. Yeah, these are the other two members of the Crime Corner family. Or you guys should start calling yourselves like crime cronies.
Ooh,
Crime cronies.
is
I like
good.
that, yeah.
It's like the gayest gang that ever existed.
Or crime cowards.
Yeah.
Crime cowards.
But yeah, you guys are here. Jesse, obviously the other part of that, who was on the show last week for a bonus epi.
Yeah, but they're, of course, known for their history podcast, which you can still find on Apple and Spotify.
That's right.
Iconoblast.
Yeah.
So you can download those old episodes. You guys did like 20 episodes on Caesar.
Yeah.
I think 13 in a row. Total
13.
Probably about 16 or 17
13
episodes.
knowns.
But
Yeah.
some of them were kind of hidden as
Five
Julius Caesar
secrets.
episodes.
Well, in your honor, I decided to do a biography a little bit.
Oh, shit.
I was fucking stoked when you told me what the topic is.
Yeah, walked
One of
in.
my favorite people in history.
We're doing Teddy.
My
Teddy
boy,
Roosevelt. Theodore.
Can I tell you that I'm still annoyed to this day that so my firstborn child, we call him Rory. His name's Robert Edward Fox the Fourth. I'm Robert Edward Fox the Third.
God damn, that's a good name.
I pitched over and fucking over again. We'd run out of Robert nicknames essentially. Actually, I wanted to do Bobby, but my wife worked with two people named Bobby who she fucking hated. So,
Was she a Sirhan fan?
Courtney,
Yeah.
can't imagine she knows who that is.
She's like, free my man.
Yeah, I can't. But
She
so
was
I
just a
like,
huge like Bobby Kennedy hater.
Yeah. So I was. Oh, I get the joke now. Yeah.
Super against RFK.
So I was like, all right, well, okay, let's swap to middle name nicknames. So his middle name's Edward. Let's call him Teddy. I love the name Teddy. Let's call him Teddy. And she fucking just vetoed that shit over and over again.
Really?
Yeah.
Rob
Teddy's
has
a
no
great
say in
name.
his household.
Yeah, just call him
is a
Teddy
great
anyway.
name.
I gave her, so I told her, I've told this to every girl I've dated seriously. I was like, the firstborn boy is going to be Rob 4. And we came to a agreement that she could pick the nickname.
Oh, okay, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And not Rory's fine. Rory's a good name, but Teddy. I
Realistically,
should have
though,
taken advantage of her in her drugged state. But I just felt bad for her.
You could have done what my dad did.
She didn't pass out. I mean, she was delusional. She was like,
Wait, hang on. I'm missing parts of that story.
Yeah. So to catch you up, if this is your
Dan
first
was
time
both
listening.
conceived and born while his mom was passed out.
When my mom was passed out, they asked my dad my name, and they had agreed upon on it being Ian James.
I'm calling you IJ, right?
Call me IJ, which thank God they did not do that. Thank God my dad pulled this stunt. He named me after him,
Uh-huh.
so Dan, but he kind of hedged a little bit, took my mother's maiden name, made it my middle name. So she woke up and she's like, "Where's IJ?" Like, well, we have news. You mean Daniel Murphy?
Yeah.
That's a lot
And
different.
by the way, they just give you, when you have a baby, they give you it's not even a fancy form. Like it looks like like something you would fill out to be in a softball league. and it's just like you write the name down. And then
For
they
the legal name, that's
Yeah,
it.
then they come back with the birth certificate.
Shit.
It is like the most underwhelming. I expected it to look like a social security card or like a college degree. You know what I mean? Like this
confusing, like
fucking
a tax
thing.
form or something.
Yeah.
like that.
It literally looks like just printed off a school printer to sign up for theater club or so. You know what I mean? Like it is like
a bar receipt.
Yeah, like it is hilarious. I was like, this is where we write it. So it's very easy to do. Like if my wife was, for the second kid, my wife was had a horrible epidural situation where I basically had to take care of the baby the whole time.
Jesus, this is becoming an episode on Rob's family.
I know. Her whole
It's a good family, dude.
Her whole stomach was pulsating like she was an alien. Like in the movie Alien, like someone's about to fucking pop out.
Oh, God.
And so I could have wrote whatever I wanted to.
You should have.
She had no chance to fix it.
Teddy, I actually hated the nickname Teddy. He preferred Theodore.
Yeah, it's a man's name. Theodore.
Yeah, he hated being called Teddy.
Bully.
Really?
And in his older age, he liked being called anything but Teddy.
Really?
Yeah.
It's kind
Theo?
of surprising that he just I was wondering if he went by Theo also.
Well, a lot of people on the Drinking Bros show call me Bob. I do not like the nickname Bob. It doesn't piss me off, but I would never, ever introduce myself as Bob.
Really?
What
You
do
just
you-
go by Rob?
Rob, yeah.
Rob.
Yeah.
Okay,
Bob is
that-
my dad. Bob is an old man's
You have
name.
to earn that.
Bob is
You're
an
not a
old-
Bob.
I'm not a Bob. I'm a Rob. Look at me.
I think I always call you Bob. I'm sorry for that.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't.
Seems like you care.
I don't care, but
Tell us how much you don't care.
I don't care. I'm not mad. I don't care. I'm not mad.
Robbie?
As a kid, I went by Robbie.
Well, here's the thing, Teddy. I'm going to keep calling you Teddy in this episode. I mean, you're dead.
He's
I don't
Teddy.
I don't want to dishonor you, but you are Teddy.
He's Teddy.
It's just an easier name to say. I'm not going to say Theodore every time.
It's cooler.
Teddy is cooler.
Also, Teddy running up a hill blasting Spaniards.
We'll get to
Theodore doesn't blast Spaniards. Teddy blasts.
So this
Spaniards.
entire episode is we're going to cover Teddy Roosevelt, the man. We're not really going to get too much into the politics. A little bit we will. We'll touch on, when he was police commissioner, when he
Anti-banana.
bananas were an issue in New York
Do you know
in
how
the
in Mo-
late 1800s. Let me finish, man. Let me explain it.
all right.
Stop jumping all over my shit.
Yeah, Robbie. Let
So-
IJ talk.
Bananas.
Sorry.
The trope of banana peels being slippery is a real thing because in New York City there were constant banana peel injuries as people would just eat the banana and throw it onto the sidewalk or the street.
People used to just litter.
And people used to eat shit from the bananas.
Didn't like an old man hemorrhage and die?
What the fuck?
A couple, I believe.
Yeah, like there was one in particular I remember reading about. Oh no, I think I wrote about it on the Patreon. It was in St. Louis because it was happening everywhere. People were just eating bananas and fucking yeeting the peel, and that's like the whole thing of like Mario Kart. Banana peel, slipping on the banana peel, the classic thing. That is a real thing. And I wrote a story. This happened in New York too. But like people would step on discarded banana peels they didn't see, smoke their head on the ground, on the concrete,
so
fucking hemorrhage and die.
Teddy Roosevelt implemented fines for this. He's like, it's garbage. You can't be just throwing that on the streets.
So slapstick comedy started off as a cautionary tale.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Teddy
What
made
the
it a
fuck?
crime?
Yeah.
Teddy made laughter.
Teddy was a
Yeah, he's
pretty...
anti-comedy.
Yeah.
He was an unliked police commissioner, and we'll get to that.
Oh, God, I can imagine.
But he grew up a very sickly child in New York with severe asthma, and he spent his entire life trying to will himself into a man's man. He was the OG, like David Goggins.
I think the OG Dan Regester. He conquered his asthma through sheer force of will, the way you conquered your butt asthma
My Crohn's disease, yeah.
through sheer force of will.
I see nothing but Crohn's disease commercials now. Like during NFL college games, just
But you cured it.
I did through sheer willpower, just like Teddy Roosevelt
Fuck yeah,
with his
dude.
asthma.
It's a real thing.
He does refuse to eat cheese, though.
I eat pizza. I just don't like cheese on anything else.
I don't eat cheese.
I find it unnecessary. I think a burger's perfectly fine without cheese.
That is sacrilegious.
Yeah, it's an insane take.
It's not.
I can
It's a
understand like,
preference.
you don't need cheese on a taco. or
I'm not
something
here
like that, but
riding for it. That's just a personal preference.
It's a bad one.
I'm not the one
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
like, oh, you fucking suck if you eat cheese on a hamburger. That's you right now.
I take cheese off burgers. I leave cheese on everything else, but burgers I like them better without cheese.
Fuck.
You gotta enjoy the meat.
Americans?
I don't know. To me, that seems like, I'm not saying it's like nefarious or malicious or anything, but it seems like sour grapes.
Do you put cheese on your steaks?
Well, no.
Oh, you
not
mean a
not
completely
steak.
different type of meat?
Well, the cheese overpowers
And
the
also,
burger.
by the way, yeah, I will slap blue cheese on a steak. No fucking questions asked.
Yeah,
Okay,
blue cheese
yeah.
for sure. But you ever have like the Crenshaw steak at Matt's El Ranchos?
I have had a steak there before. I don't remember
They
what
do
it was.
put a cheese on top of it, which I don't like.
Yeah, I
It's a
don't want...
ribeye. Don't put cheese on it.
Yeah, that's fair.
That I can. Yeah, I'm definitely.
Yeah, I
on board
don't.
with
Yeah,
that.
no, I don't need 2 slices of American cheese on my fucking ribeye.
Yeah, you don't put a fucking lawn flamingo in front of the White House.
I mean, I would. In fact, that's the first thing I would do if I was president.
Trump would, yeah.
Yeah, that's very Trump-esque as well. Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
he's
fair enough.
Floridian.
Bad
at this
analogy.
point. I don't-
Just show people you're a parrot head.
Did he run as a Floridian the first time, or was he a New Yorker?
I think it was in
I,
New York.
I thought it was New York.
Yeah.
Okay, but he's a Floridian now, so if he wins, flamingo on the
the
lawn,
lawn.
no questions asked.
Shit, I'll vote specifically just to see that.
When the Civil War broke out, his household is incredibly divided. His old man worked with President Lincoln to aid Union soldiers, while his mother was a total turncoat. She started secretly sending relief packages to her Confederate family.
Where's his mom from?
What a bitch.
From down south. She was just never comfortable with the being above the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah.
The whole non-slavery thing.
Yeah, it's just never comfortable with free blacks.
I mean, who is,
Yeah.
honestly?
I mean, a black guy without chains is like Santa's sleigh without sleigh bells on it. You just like to hear the jingle.
Slave bells.
Yeah. Sleigh. Sleigh bells ring.
Are you listening?
Is that where the
What
stage
a-
name 2
what a-
Chainz comes from?
Wait,
maybe.
so you know what's really funny, by the way, is that so Teddy Roosevelt's mom was that commercial, that Kamala Harris commercial that just dropped, where it's like the woman, the husband's like a MAGA guy, and he's like, go, hey, babe, get ready, come on, let's go vote. And then she gets to the booth, and she fills out Kamala Harris. Teddy Roosevelt's mom was the inverse, or like the reverse of that, where the dad was like, hell yeah, union, and she goes into the voting booth, and she's like, slaves.
Yep.
Teddy loved physical activities despite his limitations. Read books about nature and history, specifically about his favorite subject, the War of 1812.
Of course.
Which he, I think, ultimately wrote a very good book on.
He did. Teddy essentially was like, we could have handled business if we even had a remotely competent Navy.
He was a big, weirdly, even though he was in the Army and famous for the Army, big Navy guy. Big Navy guy.
And that's a big
Really?
part of his presidency.
Yeah.
He gets us on par with the other world powers. He gets it's called the Great White Fleet, and it has like 16 destroyers. He just gets us like modernized with our Navy, and that's how we become a little bit more of a world power.
Dude, pre-World
Nice.
War II, I swear to God, before every war we went into, we were just like, oops, we need a military. Like, every fucking war. I think there was a quote from MacArthur before World War II. He, like, went to West Point. He was already a general or colonel or something, and they were like, watch our exercises on the grounds, General. And he watches it, and it's like these, literally, this is like the 30s. And it's these guys, like, fucking slapping shit on horses and hooking them up to cannons, and the horses are like pulling the cannons around. And I think his quote was something, paraphrased, something along the lines of like we're preparing for the War of 1812 while the rest of the world is preparing for a 20th century war.
And they were
Holy
doing that
shit.
in the fucking 30s.
Yeah, literally in the that was after World War I. They were still just like, hook these horses up to these cannons, let's go. Ah, da, 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 da. Fucking the start of every American war before or even up to World War II is just like, oops, we need a
Oh,
military.
shit, we forgot to upgrade our military.
Yeah.
His father made a gym in their house so Teddy could work on his physical fitness and bully his asthma into submission.
Bully.
His mother homeschooled him until he was 18, and he attended Harvard in the fall of 1876. He was a bit of an outcast in college. He had insane sideburns, was pestering professors with questions nonstop during class, and kept rocks and animal specimens in his dorm.
He sounds
Oh,
like he
God,
sucks, to
imagine
be
the
honest.
smell of his room.
Yeah.
He was a bit of a weirdo.
Have you seen the picture of him freshman year?
No,
My fucking phone.
it doesn't matter.
I've seen a
No.
picture of him where he's fucking jacked.
We have too much to get to.
I'm just saying, it's a good pick. You keep going. I'll just pull it up.
His father died in 1878, and he changed his major to history and government so he could follow in his senior's footsteps. He participated in wrestling and boxing and joined the Hasty Pudding Club.
This is freshman Teddy Roosevelt.
That's the picture I was thinking of in my head.
Yeah.
This is an
Thug,
18-year-old.
That
He's
is...
pissed. Doesn't
Yeah.
give a fuck.
That's a 60-year-old man that spent his
Yeah, I
entire
know.
life in the forest.
He met his future wife in October of 1879. Elise Hathaway Lee initially thought he was a total psycho and weirdo and turned him down after several marriage proposals. But Teddy
My
was
man.
persistent.
I mean, that's how any
How
good
old was he
marriage
still at
starts.
Harvard?
Yeah, this was at Harvard.
Okay.
This is the story of like every grandparent or great grandparent or even like some of our parents. It's like, yeah, I didn't like your father at first, but he just
really-
kept
But I didn't
kept
have
asking.
a choice.
He just kept asking, kept showing up.
I mean, most of love in history is just not taking no for an answer.
That's changed now.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
doesn't mean no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Grandpa?
changed a little bit on the surface.
That's literally like the plot of like most love movies.
Yeah.
Like rom-coms or like
All the way up to the
Notebook.
90s.
He just wouldn't take no for an answer in the Notebook.
Yeah. Like, pretty much every single...
I mean, she did go live a full life and fuck a bunch of other dudes.
She did.
and then came back.
That's
I
like
mean,
pretty much the only
he's like a
update
cuck,
with modern
kinda.
romance. If you go back to like Casablanca and Gone with the Wind and stuff like that, it's all just guys that are like, "Oh, you said no? Nope.
Yeah.
We're doing this."
Listen, damn.
Frankly, madam, I don't give a damn.
He eventually broke her down, and they married on his birthday in 1880.
Hell yeah.
During their honeymoon, Teddy took Alice to climb the Matterhorn in the Swiss Alps. What a fun, exciting honeymoon.
So
Dude.
she doesn't want to marry him, doesn't want to marry him, doesn't want to marry him, is finally like, oh my God, okay. And he's like, good bitch, let's climb this mountain.
Yeah. I love this guy.
He went to Columbia Law after and wrote his first book while in school about his favorite subject, the Naval War of 1812, like you mentioned earlier. He writes a lot. Him and Churchill are both like prolific authors.
Hmm.
You don't have anything else to do.
They couldn't
He couldn't
doom
He
scroll.
had nothing to scroll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 1884, both his wife and mother die on the same day on Valentine's Day.
Damn.
He
From
put
what?
He put a very
A bullet in their head.
No. So his wife
They're both
dies
beaten to death.
right
That's
after
crazy.
childbirth, like 2 days after giving birth to their first kid. And then his mother had like some fever.
I
the
mean,
same time?
she was
His
over
mom
the
was
age
old. She was like 45.
of. Yeah, I was gonna
And-
say she's over the age of 40. Her
Yeah.
days were numbered.
Shit.
But he put a pretty depressing mark in his journal on that
Yep.
day. It was just an X that
Yep.
said the light has gone out.
The
of my
light has
life."
gone out of my life. That was my
Damn.
next note.
Oh, sorry.
No, all
That
good.
goes viral a lot. Like every couple of months, people just be like, "Wow, Teddy Roosevelt on the day his wife and mom died." Oh, and I'm just
Oh
like,
yeah, one of
The
the
light goes out of my
yeah, and I'm just like, gay.
yeah, one of the most disgraceful days of my life was when I thought it was a good idea to use that.
I'm going to start using that every Monday.
He left his baby daughter, who was born just 2 days earlier, in the care of his sister Bammy while he grieved. He eventually gets custody of Alice when she's 3. Alice was known to be a partier, a gambler, a smoker, and an all-around rule breaker. Teddy once said, "I can either run this country or attend to Alice, but I cannot possibly do both."
Bad
God
bitch.
damn.
That is probably someone else we need to do an epi on.
Probably.
Yeah, like she sounds rad.
We'll do that for the Patreon.
Yeah.
And he handled the death of his wife well, and by that I mean he left the city behind for the allure of the American West. Became a cowboy.
Is this when he fucks off to Deadwood?
Yeah.
He becomes friends with Timothy Oliphant.
He operated a cattle ranch in Little
Roosevelt
Missouri.
went to Deadwood?
Little Missouri.
Oh shit, I didn't know about that.
In the Dakotas.
Yeah.
For a few years, learning to ride, rope, and hunt. While living in North Dakota, he became deputy sheriff.
Oh, shit.
One of the crimes that he took down while he was deputy sheriff was thieves stole his boat that he'd been planning to cross the Little Missouri River. So he wrangled 2 other ranch hands. They built a brand new boat in 3 days, and they chased after him.
Holy
fucking-
shit.
Imagine stealing someone's boat, and then like 3 or 4 days later, you're like, "Who the fuck is that?"
There's just a new boat coming down the river.
It's better than the one you stole.
Like like you steal someone's car, and then 3 days later you see some junker speeding after you because he just went to a salvage yard, put a
Yeah.
fucking engine in anything he could find, and
Not even
chased
like
you down.
like a new car rolling in after you. It's something that somebody else fucking threw together from scrap.
He tracks them down, the 3 thieves, arrests them at gunpoint, and hauls them to jail 300 miles from the original spot of the theft. Watches them for 40 straight hours while he read Tolstoy.
God damn.
He's just sitting there all cracked out, just reading Tolstoy, like laughing to himself.
Do you sometimes get the impression that Teddy Roosevelt is fucking rad as fuck to read about, but would be horrible to be around?
Yeah,
in
he's
person?
insane. He's a lunatic.
Dude,
Yeah.
every time that, and recently every time that I've read anything about Roosevelt, the person that I picture is Shrek McPhee. John Shrek McPhee. He was a Green Beret, I think, Delta Force.
Yeah.
Just insane, over the top badass. Every interview I see with that guy, it's like, holy shit, you would be a nightmare to be around.
Yeah. Like
Great.
you
It's like True
are
Grit,
just
dude.
like what you just,
Yeah,
like,
just-
be normal, dude. And you know what? It takes great men to do great things and stuff like that. But it's like those people, you can't have a beer with them. you
Dude, like,
know what I mean?
Bringing it back around to what Delgo was saying, it's like David Goggins, Gary Vee. Do you really want to hang out
No.
with those kind of people? It would be fucking
Do you want to hang out with
exhausting.
Michael Jordan? No.
God, no.
Well,
I'd hang out with Shaq.
Yeah, but Shaq doesn't have that fire within.
Yeah, a
he
little more
doesn't.
slow speed.
If Shaq had that fire, he'd have 10 championships.
He'd be the greatest of all time.
Like without even question, he would be a murderer. But
He was super lazy, and he still was like a top 10 player of all time. But if he actually had the drive and motivation to be great, he would be the best player ever.
without it would, I don't even know that there would be a close second.
I don't think so.
Like really, it's fucking crazy, and I respect him so much for that. That he was.
Yeah,
just
that's why you
like-
can have a beer with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was just like, I'm
good.
4 championships, 10 championships, whatever.
Writes a couple books about the Wild West. After a drought and blizzards decimate his herd, in 1886, returns to New York. He runs into an old childhood friend, Edith Kermit Caro. This becomes his wife.
All right. I like that he was just LARPing. By the way, he was just like, "Well, my cattle died. I'm gonna go home."
He
I
LARPs
think
a
I have a
lot.
daughter. yeah, I think I have.
Should probably check in on her.
Yeah,
Oh,
cattle
yeah,
are
shit.
dead. I
Who's
hope
got
she-
custody of her?
It's-
I
his
gotta get
sister.
that back.
It's
His
so
sister, yeah.
it's so fucking funny too. By the way, this is one thing where like I don't know that diary entry makes sense because he's like, the light has gone out of my life. My mother and my wife are dead. You have a baby.
Yeah, there's a silver lining.
What about the baby?
Now I just have to clean up this mess.
Like, take care of the baby, dickhead. And by take care of it, you're rich as fuck. So just like have anyone else wake up in the middle of the night to deal with it or feed it or whatever, and you can play with it a little bit. But you have to go to North Dakota for 3 years because your mom died. You gaylord.
Just
like,
2 years, dude.
Whatever. It's funny. Like there's
Would have been
nothing.
5 years if he lost a son.
Yeah. Yes. Of course. Which he does eventually have, because that guy dies in D-Day.
Yeah, he died.
Oh, shit.
No. He dies World War One. I think.
No, Theodore Roosevelt
Wait,
II
yeah.
dies in.
Oh, okay, then he has another kid, I believe,
He has
that dies in World War One.
of a heart attack, by the way.
In D-Day.
Yeah.
Shit.
Wait,
On
was
the beach.
it Roosevelt's son that had like the really, really bad eyesight? He was like barely even fit for combat.
He has 8 kids, so
that-
I don't know. I didn't
Uh,
look
so
into
It was
all of them
Teddy Jr. or the third or whatever it was, but he was played by Henry Fonda in The Longest Day, and he's like, I'm getting on that beach one way or other. My dad charged up San Juan Hill, and he goes, but he does like have a heart attack like a day or two later, I think.
Oh, okay, maybe that's who I'm thinking of. I remember hearing about at least one major badass who sent their son off to war, and their son was definitely not fit for combat and just got fucked.
Well,
Anyway.
so Teddy, when he goes back to New York, he was already involved in like local politics, runs for mayor, loses. Eventually, a couple days later, gets married to Edith. He goes over to England. They get, they have the ceremony. They have a good time. Comes back, gets a property on Long Island, and he has 5 children with Edith.
Okay.
He's appointed police commissioner in New York in 1895 and attempts to reform one of the world's and America's most corrupt police departments. It wasn't really the police department wasn't really a thing. It was just kind of like a bullshit job.
Because
It's not the way you think of the police now.
when he was police commissioner. Like what period was that?
The 1890s. So 95.
I think it's basically a good thing to imagine. It's just John C. Reilly and Gangs of New York.
I was in my mind. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
That's
like
basically-
like the
I feel like
firemen in
cops-
Gangs of New York is what I was thinking.
Yeah, cops like up to that point. Gangs of New York, John C. Reilly.
yeah.
Just like a guy who like walks around as,
With a
as
pocket
corrupt
watch.
as anyone else. Yeah.
He took midnight rambles to make sure officers were walking their beats. So he was an extreme micromanager.
Oh God.
He enforced an unpopular law that banned the sale of alcohol in saloons on Sundays. And he kind of became public enemy number 1 for that.
Yeah, what a
Don't they
dickhead.
still do that here?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't buy alcohol on Sundays.
Yeah.
In this
Well, no, you can't go to
state?
liquor store. Liquor.
Yeah.
Liquor,
No hard liquor,
yeah.
and you can't get beer until after 10 a.m.
Because Jesus.
Because of this, he
In the
gets
freest state in the union. Jesus won't let you buy beer until after 10 on Sunday and no liquor.
Teddy says so.
Hey, freedom isn't free. There's a price to pay for all that freedom. That means you can't drink on Sundays.
So they send
Except
two
for today.
they send 2 letter bombs to Teddy
Oh,
for
shit.
banning booze on
How do you-
Sundays.
Wow, that's a good bomb in the 1890s.
They don't work though; they fail.
Oh, I mean, still though, that's pretty analog.
Yeah, how would you even do that? It's not like you can remote detonate it or something.
It's true.
Back in those days, you just don't open up a package that has a fuse sticking out of it that's slowly
Yeah, it's
burning
Or you
down.
just
the
cut
note
that.
that says "light this."
Roosevelt campaigned vigorously for Republican president candidate William McKinley in 1896. Roosevelt's loyalty paid off when he was later appointed Assistant Secretary of the Navy, a position he long coveted. Knowing that a Navy was essential for the United States to become a world power, he began building up the Navy, constructing new ships, adding modern equipment, enhancing trading procedures. He seemed to know that the war with Spain was imminent, and we had to have a badass Navy to get ready.
Mhm.
So he saw the writing on the wall.
He fucking knew, dude.
With the outbreak of the Spanish-American War in 1898, Roosevelt left his job as Assistant Secretary of the Navy in order to lead a volunteer cavalry regiment as lieutenant colonel in the Army. So he actually, after this, wanted his family and friends to refer to him as colonel the rest of his life.
Ooh.
Oh boy,
Call me Colonel.
it's. What was your rank, Coop?
Oh, E1. No,
You were lieutenant.
oh no, that would be O1.
Oh,
No, I was E1.
Okay.
Private. Tail into training. I got medical discharge.
Okay, so private.
Mhm.
Thank you. Yeah, we're just private for the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, just call me private from now on.
Yeah.
I earned that rank.
Goddamn right.
The regiment known as the Rough Riders executed a daredevil charge up San Juan and Kettle Hills in Cuba. Roosevelt is hailed as a hero, finally achieving the glory he dreamed of as a boy. But apparently this, whole charge of San Juan, he just YOLO'd it. He had no plan of attack. He's
Just
just
went for
like,
it.
let's go, boys.
Unsurprising. Deeply unsurprising.
Did
he
he come
ends
up
up-
with the name?
He ends up getting a lot of people
Rough Riders?
killed.
Oh, he had to have.
Did he come
Probably.
up with the name? Do you guys
Probably.
know?
But he gets a lot of people killed charging up San Juan because he's just like, let's go.
And the Spanish had
Fuck yeah, I love that though.
machine guns
Yes.
at the top of San Juan Hill. Specifically, the same machine guns they would go on to use in World War I. Not the Spanish, but just in general. These were, I think they were Maxims. It was
They were
not.
using Maxims?
Yeah, it wasn't Gatling. It was I think it was a Maxim at the top of San Juan Hill.
Well, for his bravery, he's awarded the Medal of Honor in 2001.
Fuck yeah.
He didn't get it till 01.
Yeah,
Dude, all right, that's a little bit posthumous.
it is.
Was he still alive?
Because if you read about it, it's like
Posthumously, he got credit for saving people on 9/11.
they take the hill up, the first hill, and they're like, we're going to take that hill now. And he's just like, let's go, boys. And what?
Bully! They're we're so tired. I mean,
I haven't died yet. Let's go.
I'm
By the
missing
way,
my arm.
I don't know if you have this in there, but I'm pretty sure while the rest of his unit, had their standard issue, whatever, blah, 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 Army uniforms, including the other officers in the unit, he went to Brooks Brothers and had his colonel's uniform specifically tailored by Brooks Brothers.
My
Hey,
man.
if you're gonna die, at least look good while you're doing it.
I don't disagree with that. Let me see if I can find that one. But it was literally he was like, this won't do. I have to look grander.
Crowds enthusiastically welcomed Roosevelt upon his return from Cuba. Teddy's wartime reputation propelled him to the office of governor of New York. At the 1900 Republican Convention, Roosevelt was nominated for the one position he didn't want: vice president under William McKinley.
Got to start asking questions.
The New York party bosses wanted Roosevelt out of the governorship, but Mark Hanna could see the consequences beyond New York State. Hanna exclaimed, "Don't any of you realize there's only one life between that madman and the presidency?"
Hell yeah. Now, hold on. I have to correct myself real quick. This is actually pretty fucking sweet. He had Brooks Brothers do it for the whole unit.
Oh,
no fucking way.
shit.
Custom uniforms for the entire unit.
Yeah.
No wonder the Rough Riders are remembered.
Yeah. That's actually fucking sweet.
That is pretty badass.
That changed a lot in my mind right now.
Yeah. He's like, you look like I won't have hobos charging up a hill.
Hanna calls it, though. Only 6 months after McKinley's March 1901 inauguration, the president was assassinated by an anarchist.
We need to do an episode on we've said this before, but man, the anarchists were on a run in the late 19th, early 20th century. They assassinated a ton of world leaders.
Yeah, from what I
They
recall,
just call
they
everybody that?
started up a little bit of fight, like a bit of a fight in the, between 1913 and 1918, something like that.
Yeah. No, they were like kind of anarchists, but they killed other kings. They got McKinley, and they tried to kill a shit ton of other people.
Dude, it's fucking wild to think about how much of an effect that still has on literally everything in world politics to this day.
Yeah.
We are still recovering from everything
From the
that happened
anarchists,
from-
did?
Yeah.
from
Is that like a
before-
gang or something?
No, it's like a political movement. And honestly, if you read what they believe, like, because I've caught like newspaper clippings of like anarchist movement or anarchist meeting taking place, which is by the way an oxymoron, but anarchist meeting taking place and whatever. Like, you read what they say, they just sound like Antifa, like woke little idiots. That like
Yeah.
it's like the same thing. It's like the same fucking thing.
Same ideology
They're like,
through like nearly a century.
History doesn't repeat, it rhymes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Teddy becomes
History
the
sighs and repeats
26th
itself.
president of the United States, taking office in September 14th, 1901. At the age of 42, becoming the youngest man to ever be president.
To this day, I believe,
Yeah,
right?
to
Not
this
the
day.
youngest elected, which is JFK.
Just the youngest to become.
yeah.
During his presidency, the noted outdoorsman often escaped Secret Service. He sailed his presidential yacht in the Potomac and regularly led hiking expeditions in the Rock Creek Park, where he would scale cliffs and use twigs and stumps for target practice with his revolver. And just to cool off, he would skinny dip in the Potomac.
Yeah.
Why is it so popular for like old school presidents to be naked all the time?
I
know.
think swimming naked was really, really common until like at some point shortly after that. Like maybe in the 20s or something like that, at least for men, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because even if you watch like World War II shit or whatever, they like jump in the ocean naked. With like in the Pacific, in the show The Pacific, they all just go swimming naked. Nobody like leaves their
Yeah.
skivvies on or
Yeah.
anything. They're just like, wee.
Underwear was uncomfortable back then. It was like made of straw.
Oh, it was all burlap and,
Yeah.
and
Just let,
scratchy.
just let your wiener fucking swing in the river, dude.
He goes to Yosemite in 1903 with environmentalist and naturalist John Muir, who was one of the earliest advocates for the idea of the national parks. Roosevelt fell in love with Yosemite. The outdoorsman president recalled walking up the glacier point as the grandest day of his life, not the birth of his children.
Oh, no,
He
obviously-
clearly didn't really
obviously
give
fuck his kids.
much of a fuck about the first one being born.
Yeah.
Since he was like, oh boy, this is a tough day. I got to go to North Dakota for 2 years.
And then this 3-day camping trip inspired Roosevelt to create the U.S. Forest Service and provide federal protection to approximately 230 million acres of American land, which, you know, we kind of rag on the government programs, but it's one of the better ones. National parks.
Nope.
Yeah.
Communist bullshit. The markets would have figured it out.
No, the national parks are awesome.
Nope. Communist bullshit.
So-
The markets would have created national parks.
National parks, to a certain degree, I do agree with. The Bureau of Land Management in general,
Yeah.
not a big fan of.
That makes sense.
My family had a lot of issues with them growing up, so not a fan.
Wait, can we back it up a bit? Did you say presidential boat?
He had a boat, yeah. Well, he's rich.
Do they still have those? It's like an Air Force One, but a boat.
No.
No, it's just his personal boat.
Oh, I thought there was like an Air Force One version of boats too.
So
I was like, why aren't the presidents using those? Ever?
I'm
Force One.
interested
Just
to
cruising
know.
around on a ship.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was something, but the first president to visit Europe while president was Woodrow Wilson. So they weren't really going anywhere
Right.
No
Like it-
fucking way.
Yeah.
Woodrow Wilson.
as president. Yeah, other presidents had been there, of course, but
Yeah.
like he was the first one as president to go to Europe.
That's crazy.
And obviously, like, none of them went to fucking China or anything. I mean, it was, you know, Andrew Johnson's not getting on a boat to go to fucking Vietnam or
Yeah,
something.
Roosevelt was actually the first president, though, to go abroad as president. When he goes to Panama.
And that was
That's
during
like
his
the
presidency.
yeah, it was during his presidency. The first president to leave the country was Roosevelt.
That is
That's
that is
crazy.
so fucking weird.
It is weird, but why is it weird?
Well, because it seems like as the leader of one of the biggest powers, well, they weren't a huge power back then, but even as the leader of a country, it seems like it would be natural to go to other countries for
One with
diplomatic
relations.
reasons, or
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, but like, I guess anyone prior to Grant was probably like, oh, America was nothing prior to certainly the Civil War,
yeah,
I would imagine. And then like between Lincoln and Roosevelt probably is when we even started to get remotely like, oh, they might be somebody. And then, yeah. But
yeah. I guess it really wasn't until World War II that America became the heavy hitter that it is now. But it's just weird to think American presidents not visiting other countries
Being
to
invited,
build
yeah,
up
like
those relations.
some conference. But we weren't even in any major wars either. Like, we were in wars, but like we weren't involved in the Napoleonic Wars at all. When we were negotiating like 1812 and shit like that, obviously, our presidents weren't going to Ghent. It was ambassadors, representatives, and shit like that. And then between 1812 and the Spanish-American War, we didn't fight anyone in Europe or have any reason to really go to Europe, I would think, as a president. People were
And
just
life
like,
was better then.
He basically
God,
turns
way
the
better.
White House into a zoo. President Roosevelt had a bear named Jonathan Edwards, a hyena, badger, one-legged rooster.
Wasn't John Edwards a psychic medium?
Yes. This is his
Sick.
previous incarnation.
A blue parrot named Eli Yale, lizards, pig, snakes, cats, horses, guinea pigs. They were all named Admiral Dewey, Dr. Johnson, Bishop Doane, Fighting Bob Evans, and Father O'Grady. Those are his guinea pigs.
I have a feeling
That's-
none of those animals are in those titles.
And then Teddy is said to have wrestled his pet bear as a form of recreation
Sure.
There was a bear at the White House just chilling, dude.
and
Yeah.
show that he was
Like
the
a
man.
San Francisco
Fuck.
bear.
He was the man of the house, so you got to
Fuck.
wrestle the bear.
Fuck the bear. There's a hyena.
Yeah.
They are
Dude.
mean bastards.
Yeah, I would be way more worried about the hyena than the bear.
Yeah, they attack when you turn around.
Yeah, the hyenas are psychos.
He also goes bear hunting in 1902 with the governor of Mississippi.
While riding his bear.
They fail.
Riding a bear.
They fail to find a bear, so not wanting the president to leave empty-handed, the guide ties a bear to a tree, and Roosevelt declines to shoot the bear, believing it's unsporting.
thank God.
It's
Yeah.
not good sport.
I'll simply club it with a hammer.
I'll impregnate it and I'll kill the child.
Yeah. I'll buy it a suit first, then shoot it.
The incident was made into a political
bear a gun.
cartoon in the Washington Post, which inspired a toy maker to make a small stuffed bear as a child's toy, which is now called a teddy bear.
Teddy bear. I didn't know that.
Named for Teddy Roosevelt.
In 1904, there were 18 football-related deaths with 159 serious injuries.
This is where he gets cooked.
God.
In order for the sport to survive, he believed modern rules needed to be put in place. He invited the head coaches of the top collegiate football teams to the White House on several occasions, strongly urging them to reconsider the rules of the game. He wrote at the time that the goal was not to emasculate the game, but simply make it less lethal. By 1906, radical rule changes to the game of football were implemented, and the forward pass was invented. Teddy Roosevelt created the forward pass.
There was
What?
yeah. He was like, do something different.
Is he the greatest dude ever?
I
Is it
don't
going to
know.
go south at some point? That's what's going to happen, right? It goes bad? Or is he just the
The
best?
sex scandals are next. Yeah, it's
He doesn't really. He doesn't have a
Women
ton of
weaken
sex
legs,
scandals.
dude.
no, he doesn't. Yeah, I mean, he's a dickhead for just leaving his daughter for 2 years because he was depressed.
Yeah, not a big fan of
baby.
that.
Yeah, but he invented the forward throwing pass because he left her.
I'm sorry. I'm hung up on that. I'm not a sports guy. I have no idea what the fuck a forward pass is.
Just the pass.
Just throwing the ball
throwing
in
the
football.
ball. In football,
That wasn't in football before that?
No, it was only
Then what
it
the
was like
fuck did
rugby.
you
It was
do?
only
it was
running.
death rugby.
Oh shit! Why did we change it? That sounds fun.
Well,
Right? Yeah, they're my favorite.
Too many
throws.
people are dying every year.
Throwing is how fathers and sons have now are good family members.
Yeah.
Like have a connection.
do that with a baseball, really.
No, dude.
Yeah, you
just-
can do that with a baseball.
Yeah, but throwing a
True.
football at a tailgate, there's nothing better. At the beach, you and the boys,
Yeah, dude.
just showing it off, trying to impress the ladies. They're not looking. They're not paying attention. But, I mean, you see
They're
that
not,
tight
and they're not
spiral?
impressed when they see it, but they
But they'll pretend they are.
Look at this
yeah.
one-handed catch.
like, wow.
Look how tight that spiral is.
So you couldn't play catch on a beach with a football before Teddy Roosevelt?
It'd be weird. Be like, what are you doing?
You
That's
wouldn't know
fine.
to. Yeah.
Dude,
beat him to
that's
death.
Crazy.
Yeah, you just beat your son to death on the beach.
Before frisbees,
Blasphemy.
Yeah.
before frisbees, there was infanticide.
Yes.
In November 1906, Roosevelt made presidential history, becoming the first chief executive to leave the United States. He sailed aboard the USS Louisiana to personally inspect the construction of the Panama Canal.
Ocean Force One, dude.
Did he build that shit himself too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he definitely got a shovel and was like, no, you do it like this.
He probably did, yeah.
He's also the first U.S. president to fly in a plane when he rode on the Wright Model B piloted by Arch Hoxsey in 1910.
No shit.
He's lived a great life so far.
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
He would also regularly invite professional boxers to the White House,
fight them?
including heavyweight champion Jack Johnson. Yeah, because he thought for some reason the man that controls the country, that runs this nation, needs to fight the heavyweight champion of the world.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of his life is clearly like him just feeling deeply inadequate for being a sick child.
Absolutely.
Like that, the fire that burns inside of him is because he had a cough when he was 8.
He doesn't remember that, though.
You know, there's worse reasons to
He
be
doesn't know that's
motivated.
why.
It was all internalized.
Like, there's just a bunch of other kids who are like, Teddy's not as strong as us. And he was just like, I'm going to build the biggest fucking navy you've ever fucking seen.
I'm going to control world trade with the canal
He's like, hey, every
that I just take.
every child that teased Teddy Roosevelt across the ocean, there was a Spaniard marked for death. Like every time a kid was just like
Throughout
like,
his entire childhood, just keeping track of what ethnicity each child was.
he was.
War, war, war.
I just like to think every time a little Spanish soldier like popped out of a trench, like a childhood bully's face just materialized on Rodrigo's face.
So it's like Bobby Boucher and the
and
Water
it's
Boy.
just- literally, it's the Water Boy, and just bam, his brains explode out of the back of his head because some kid was like, "You can't shoot marbles with this, you fucking retarded lung boy." And then,
So he fights Jack Johnson, fights a bunch of boxers, but he would also fight some of his staff, some guys in the army.
Did he win?
Sometimes he lost.
didn't beat Jack Johnson.
I think Jack Johnson kind of fucked with him a little
Well,
bit.
I think one of his boxing matches detached one of his retinas, and
Yep.
he had to.
This is
I'll
Colonel
stop jumping ahead.
Colonel Dan Tyler Moore smashes a blood vessel and leaves him blind in his left eye.
Fuck yeah, dude.
During the
Fucking
Spartan
president,
session.
dude.
As
So
president,
as the rest of his life,
Yeah.
he
That's
why he's got the
can't
monocle,
see
right?
out of the left eye
that's really fucking funny.
because this colonel just fucks him up in a
Dude,
sparring
there's no way
session.
any president
and I-
would do that nowadays. It's fucking sick.
And afterwards, he's just like, you can't tell anyone. Like, nobody can find out about
So
Nobody can
both,
find out.
both Roosevelt presidents hid a disability.
Holy shit! Yeah, that's
in the
that's a
family.
good point.
Yeah, and then obviously, speaking of disabilities, Eleanor hid lesbianism, and it just keeps going.
Yet another disability.
Yeah. No, but that is really funny. That I guarantee you too. He was just like goes blind, and he's just like, "Bully, good blow, man."
He loved it.
Yeah,
Well thrown, good sir.
yeah. Blind in an eye. That's a punch. Everyone else would be like, "Oh my god!" It'd be like that fucking Dodger fan who blew his hand off, just like. He's just like, "Ha ha ha."
While running for president after creating the Bull Moose Party, Teddy was shot by a would-be assassin in 1912 while campaigning for president. He stood back up, said, "Friends, I shall ask you to be as quiet as possible. I don't know whether you fully understand that I have just been shot." Then he continued to give his speech, which lasted over an hour, and was taken to the hospital afterwards, where it was revealed the bullet was lodged between his ribs, where it would remain the rest of his life, but it didn't fully penetrate any of his organs because of his speech was inside his pocket, and it was so thick, because it was an hour long, that it saved his life.
Yeah. Damn.
It wouldn't have killed him anyway.
Thank God for being long-winded.
But you know
I
how they
think
were
it
kind of
was-
giving Trump props for like standing up and saying, "Fight, fight, fight." Imagine getting shot in the chest and then just going, "All right, I got an hour speech still."
Keep it down so
Standing up,
yeah.
Bear with me here. I can't project as much anymore.
Just coughing up blood.
And I think during that speech was when he also said that it takes more than that to kill a bull moose.
Yep.
That was a origination of the, wasn't it the Bull Moose Party or?
Bull Moose Party.
Yeah,
What a badass.
he was.
Obviously, he splits the votes with Taft. That's how Wilson gets in the office.
He Ross Perot'd Taft,
He did.
who, by the way, was his
Choice to get in.
hand-picked successor. So Teddy Roosevelt served 7 years, I think, as president, but he'd only been elected to one term, so he could have run again. Actually, there's not even a limit, right? At this point, there's no constitutional limit, so he could have just run. But Teddy Roosevelt was like, "No, Washington only served 8. I won't serve longer than him," because being elected again, and he would have won because Taft won, would have put him beyond Washington's number of years. And he was like, no, like the best thing an American president can do is give up power. Like that's the noblest thing an American president can do is give up power. And
honestly, I have a huge amount of respect for that, because that's like the Roman dictator that gets brought up a lot, Cincinnatus, where he was like the only dictator where as soon as he was done with his absolute power, he's like, no, I'm going to go back to be a farmer.
I needed to do. Yeah, so he did that. But
that's why I like Coolidge. Coolidge is like, I don't need to run for re-election. I'm good.
Dude, fuck that shit, because Coolidge had 2 terms. Fucking Tyler is the man.
Well, Coolidge had 2 terms because a president died.
I know, but wait, he got.
He got.
I thought he got elected.
No, he was the VP for Hardin.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So he was the same thing as Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because Hardin dies like 20 days into his, because he catches a cold, right?
He was the one that died from pneumonia,
the
right?
guy who died 48 days is it was in the 1800s. I forget his name.
Well, Hardin dies.
Is that the one they put a bunch of leeches on?
Hardin dies pretty early.
Yeah, he does. You're right.
I think they did that to...
He was like dying of pneumonia, and they're like, put leeches on him, and then he died.
I think they did that to Lincoln. They did that to a lot of people back in the day.
But the dude who won the Mexican War, I think it was Tyler. I think. Anyway, he only served 1 term because he accomplished everything he said he would accomplish in that 1 term.
That was Polk.
Polk.
It's supposed to be your boy. You ride for Polk all the time. You don't even know his name.
I'm out of it today. Polk, James K. Polk, 1 term was like, I did everything I said, including doubling the size of this country.
No, Hardin was in a little longer than I thought, 2 years.
Okay.
Well, kind of, like 2-ish years.
So Coolidge had 6.
Yeah. That's still chill.
But yeah, he gave up power. And he was like, I should give up power. I think that's the best thing a president can do, is not try to retain power as long as possible. Or at all. But then obviously he was later like, dude, Taft sucks. I'm fucking going back.
After his presidency and after his failed attempt at re-election, he's accompanied by his son Kermit and famed explorer Colonel Candido Rondon. They set off to a journey in South America on a river called the River of Doubt.
Whoa.
They lost 5 of 7 canoes. They were in close vicinity to cannibalistic tribes.
I at first I thought you were going to say 5 of 7 native guides. Just like the Indians they were with just kept fucking dying.
So really, only 5 out of 7. That's not bad.
Canoes, like full canoes. 1 sailor died in the rapids. Another was murdered by a crew member gone mad. Roosevelt cuts his leg really bad trying to cross the river in order to free 2 jammed canoes. His injury leads to an infection, which leads to a fever. He's near death, and he pleads with his son to leave him behind, but Kermit refuses. And in the end, they eventually make it, but he looks like he's dead coming out of the Amazon. He loses like 80 pounds here.
Holy shit.
The only reason he goes into the Amazon is because he's just like, this man is just like, do people know I'm tough still? Like, that's half his life. It's like, I'm tough. I'm very tough.
Exact same reason that he went to war. So, I'm strong.
Yeah, I'm very strong.
Yeah. And with the outbreak of World War I, the 58-year-old ex-president was eager to return to the front lines.
My man.
Roosevelt vehemently lobbied President Woodrow Wilson to send him to France as the head of a 200,000-man expeditionary force. Around the country, supporters of the hero of the San Juan Hill staged rallies of support. But Roosevelt would not get the call to fight because he's fucking 58.
Well, if he
wouldn't
wants
let
to
him
be a
go?
general, I guess. Right? He wants to lead the AAF, the American Expeditionary Force.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to be like necessarily. He probably would.
He would have.
I mean, like even in the jungle, I liked it. He's just like, son, Leave me behind. I'm so badass. I'm gonna die in the jungle. Leave me behind. I'm so fucking badass. And then he goes to the guy he campaigned
Remember
against.
to tell everybody I was tough when I died.
Yeah, tell them I was so fucking cool. I really like. He's awesome, but also fuck this guy. Like, you don't want to be around this guy.
No, I mean, I see what you're getting at, though, so regardless of the fact of where he was coming from for his toughness, there was still a place that he was coming from with that, trying to prove himself.
Oh, yeah.
It would be a fucking nightmare to be around.
Yeah. You get in like a little argument with him, like you beat him in whatever the 19th century equivalent of beer pong is, and he's just like,
One more.
fight me, box me.
Okay, tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. Beer pong again,
right.
and then we box.
He's like, dude, I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. Coward! I'm like, all right, call me a fucking coward. I don't fucking care.
Exactly. Dude, that's exactly how I'm picturing him, too. Respectable, but Jesus Christ, it'd be a fucking nightmare.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, ironically, real quick, the person who does end up leading the American Expeditionary Force was served with him in the Spanish-American War. Served near him. General Blackjack Pershing.
Sick name.
Badass fucking name.
Yeah, well, that's his nickname is Blackjack. But John Pershing, I think, is it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he served. I don't think he was in the Rough Riders, but he like served alongside Teddy Roosevelt in the Spanish-American War.
Rough Rider adjacent.
Yes, yeah.
As you said earlier, his son Quentin is killed in action in World War I when his plane is shot down over France in 1918. So not World War II, World War I.
Okay, he does have a son who dies in World War II, though.
Oh, well, you know.
Yeah, that's what I thought, too.
Yeah, he absolutely does.
Okay. Well, he has a
He's
son
so
that dies
badass.
in
He's
World
got
War
kids
I,
that
too.
die in war too.
Yeah, every war, the Teddy Roosevelt.
And he's not upset about it.
The fucked up was the one that died in Desert Storm. I mean, he was 90. Wouldn't.
Yeah.
He was like, my
One of them
father.
invaded Iraq.
90s, myopic, asthmatic.
Yeah, it was actually
Flat
Kermit.
feet.
He was like,
Hiding it all, dude.
I have
Went
to
into battle with
die.
the name Kermit.
Yeah.
He was doomed.
And this is a very fun fact. A day that'll live in infamy. He dies the next year in 1919 on January 6th. He died
No
on
fucking way.
He died on J6.
Fuck.
Damn.
The worst thing to ever happen on J6.
Now I've got 2 reasons to celebrate January 6th. Celebrating his life, not his death.
Mm-hmm, of course. We're storming the Capitol for Teddy.
I would do that.
But the Rough Riders. We're going in Rough Rider gear.
Rough Riders storm the Capitol, dude?
On horses.
On horses.
It's like this has nothing to do with this election now.
Yeah, it's not
It
political.
Okay, so his son, Theodore Roosevelt Jr., was a brigadier general. He was 56. He was the oldest person to storm the beaches of Normandy.
At 56.
Was he the one with the eye issues?
Potentially.
That's
So
the one
he-
that had the heart attack?
He did exactly what Teddy wanted to
he-
do World War I.
He hit
Yeah.
the beaches with a handgun and a cane. He couldn't even fully walk.
Dude, I don't think that they're trying to be tough. I think they just are.
Yeah.
They just are.
Let
He-
them.
he-
Like,
it
at
says he-
56, are you still trying to prove you're tough?
He directed his guys under serious enemy fire, and he died
with the
a
cane.
month. He died on July 12th from a heart attack. So right in the heat
like
of the
Yoda
of the
walking
hedgerow
Luke Skywalker.
fighting, he fucking died. Heart attack.
Dude, I mean, honestly, even if every single person in his family was trying to prove a point, they proved a fucking point.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think you're trying to prove anything once you're like over 45. Especially that time. Like, what are you trying to prove
Well,
at that point? They already proved it.
What's funny is Teddy was just like, I'm tough, I'm not sick. And then his son was just like, I'm as tough as my dad.
And I'm not sick
And he's
either.
just like hobbling up fucking Omaha. Just picture Saving Private Ryan.
With a
And
cane.
then some guys just like, ugh.
But imagine if every time he pulled the trigger, a Nazi died.
It's just like a heat-seeking bullet.
Yeah, he's just that good. He's like, ah.
But you have to imagine
like
the
a-
German that shoots him is just laughing the whole time. Just look at this geezer.
You go back to you
Dude,
go back to
either
the
that or
barracks,
the
you're-
reason that he survived the landing is because every time the machine gun came over to him, they're like, "Aw," just kind of skip over the top of them. Keep
See, I would have
going.
just been like, guys, I got the funniest kill today.
They were making bets how long they'd keep him alive.
That's honestly that guy. I would be like, I am so tired of shooting baby-faced 18-year-olds. Like a 56-year-old with a cane. I'm like, get out of here.
Well,
Done.
there was another guy that stormed the beaches of Normandy named, I think his name was Mad Jack Churchill.
Oh, you're the British guy?
And yeah, he went with a fucking claymore and some bagpipes and shit.
I
like
think
they
he
were
had like a bow and arrow maybe or something.
yeah, longbow.
Yeah.
People
And
have
he
requested
actually
an
he's
episode on
I think
him.
he's the only person in World War II to have a confirmed kill with the longbow. There was lots of insane people that fought in World War II.
That's rough for that German
I
family.
miss.
Well,
Oh,
why put them
God,
in a
could you
mental
imagine?
institute when they can just be sent to the front lines?
Yeah.
You want those people on your side.
I mean, shit, hell yeah, me too.
We don't have those people in this country anymore.
No, we
used to be a
keep
proper-
trying to tone them down.
Yeah. Used to be a proper country.
I mean, if you ever see the World War II documentaries where they're interviewing some of the geezers, a lot of them break down saying that they had like a really tough time getting over it. But there's a couple people in there that are always like, "Yep, I shot him.
Oh
Did
yeah,
it.
they're.
It was fun."
I mean, the amount of I spent a lot of time watching like World War II interviews of like World War II veterans
know.
and shit. And obviously,
Look at you.
on both sides. On both sides. No, but it's insane to see the reactions of some of these people because even if you compare it to the reaction of modern day veterans,
Yeah.
the amount of pain that they're going through doesn't change, but the reaction changes a lot. Where back in the day, it seemed a whole lot more matter of fact. Where it's like, oh yeah, and he died. And then if you hear the stories from nowadays, it's a lot more nuanced and they're putting their feelings into it. Back then, it's like I can't imagine those people having fucking emotions.
No.
It's interesting to me
Because you married the fucking first woman you saw. That's your sweetie.
Everything about your life is suppressing
you're
emotions.
You're 0 to 1 generation removed from people dying all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Like you were born, if you fought in World War II, you were born either during or within 5 years of the flu pandemic.
Dude, the Spanish flu.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. Fuck.
Like my grandpa
And
fought.
that killed all the youngins.
It killed kids. Killed
Yeah.
fuck ton of kids. My grandfather, my mom's dad, both fought in World War II. Served in World War II, I should say. My dad's dad was a doctor, but my mom's dad was just in it, like in the 2nd Armored Division in the Battle of the Bulge, a lieutenant commanding a Sherman tank, and
Fuck.
he was born in 1912.
God damn.
So like
He's used to seeing people die.
he was
Yeah, it'd be like
he was
commonplace.
7 years old when the flu pandemic hit. You're a little more used to death at that time than any millennial who fought in the global war on terror. You don't grow up with people dying.
There's also
no,
there's no individualism. It's just like, oh,
good
this is
point.
what I do. This is my job. You kind of buy into that. That's the rest of your life. You work at a factory. You have one woman your whole life, and that's it. You just accept it. You're like, yep.
Good enough. Sounds
Will do.
nice.
You're not overthinking things. You're not constantly at war with your own identity and who you like, what you want to accomplish. There's no ego at all.
because there's too many outside struggles for you to overcome that you can't focus on anything on the internal. And that's a really good point that you brought up with the veterans of World War II growing up during the Spanish flu and things like that.
Or even just after. I mean, like this is all anyone who grew up in the 20s. I think penicillin was invented in like the 30s or something like that. I mean, there's just no antibiotics as a child. Like it's fucking. They're still. They're the last generation that dealt with that level of. It was still less of a level than like
1928 penicillin.
Yeah.
A year later, the stock market crashes.
Coincidence.
So,
But like they're the
Big
actually
pharma, man.
the quote
crashing
unquote
the economy.
the quote unquote greatest generation is the last generation that the same way millennials were like we're the last generation without the devices and screens and stuff
Without
like
the
that.
internet.
Right, you know what I mean? Like we're the last generation
without
that
the
grew up
internet.
like a normal kid. They were the last generation that grew up like a normal kid in
Without
that
fucking
half the kids were
penicillin.
fucking dying.
Your
Yeah,
friends
dude.
were dying all the time, yeah.
And it is crazy to look at the different reaction between veterans from different wars, because the ones from World War II, like I didn't even think about the fact that you just brought up until now. They were raised around so much death that those extra deaths that they went through, it obviously traumatic, but also still kind of par for the course.
They're more
considering
used to it.
The lifestyles that they grew up with.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's probably still haunting no matter what, because even when people die,
Absolutely.
right? Even when people die growing up, they're not ripped in half, or so, you know what I mean, or some
Yeah.
shit like that. But like, you are still used to people. Like, it's so much more common for people to die suddenly, randomly. Like right now, if we were like, oh my god, did a 54-year-old man died? That's crazy.
Yeah.
That would never happen. That never happens. Like, what? You just
Whereas-
wake up and you're like, oh, 4 people died.
It's
4
like,
people I know died.
like back in those days, it's like waking up like, oh, our 16-year-old neighbor just died.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but then seeing your 16-year-old neighbor blown to pieces by an artery shell, that's the part that'll be
Yes.
like, oh, that's
And I mean, to really bring it all together, yeah, you see a neighbor slip on a banana peel, hit his head on the staircase. That's going to really change you, right? It's so comedic. It's so funny at the time, but you're like, oh, shit, no, he's bleeding out.
Yeah.
He needs help.
He's just like imagine that. Like there's a banana. You just see like, oh, that's funny. There's a banana peel. And then like literally 30 seconds later, somebody's just like,
backing up that point, back in the days, like nowadays we can laugh about people slipping on a banana peel. Back in those days,
serious business.
that was cancer.
Those were the real landmines.
Have you stepped on a banana peel for real?
No.
It's actually so slippery.
I'm still alive.
Yeah, it actually is. Like you can't stay standing. Something with the one side of the peel and all the inside part of the peel, it just goes. It's like skis.
We know how they sit on Mario Kart.
Dude, I've slipped on a banana peel in real life.
Really?
And he
Yeah, I did
tell
on
the tale,
purpose. I
yeah.
wanted to see if they're actually slipping.
Maybe that's our one YouTube video that'll actually go viral. We do a banana peel challenge on a sidewalk.
Let's do it.
We just start that's our prank. We throw it in front of strangers. And see what happens.
Oh yeah.
No, you have to blindfold yourself, and we all get to throw bananas in front of them, and then you just
We
have
walk
to
through
walk.
banana peels.
Yeah, and if you
There's
don't
no
fall,
way
you
one
win.
of us is not going to die.
We'll be fine.
It'll probably be me, so it's fine.
Yeah, right. Anyway, that's our episode on Teddy Roosevelt today. Thanks for tuning in. Icona Blast Boys.
Yeah.
Joel Coop.
Thanks for
tuning
having us.
in. Thanks for coming. We love you guys.
We do.
Oh, we love you too.
That's sweet.
And they'll be on the Patreon in a minute.
Yeah. So check out Patreon, patreon.com/softcorehistory. 2 additional episodes every week, Wednesday and Friday. And if you are brand new, you're going to sign up for our Patreon. You finally decide, you're going to go for it. You're going to get all that extra content. Make sure to do it not on your phone. It's this new update with iOS for some reason. Patreon's going to give a percentage to Apple if you sign up through the app on the phone.
They
But if
take a lot of money from us if you sign up on the phone.
it makes
What
no
the
difference
fuck?
to you.
Fuck?
But if you could sign up online, just a regular browser, or even on your phone, you can sign up through the browser. And still use the app, but just don't sign up on the app.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fucked up. That's a fair ask though. It doesn't take that much more time to just
Just
go
do
to
it
the
on a
computer,
web
just
browser.
sign
Do it
up
on your
for there.
computer.
You can
I mean, you
still
can-
consume the content through the phone.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah. I mean, you can do it on your Safari on iPhone or whatever the fuck, but it's just do it on your laptop.
Jake left, and we're still making the same amount of money or less now. Because Apple's fucking us.
Yeah, so fuck the big corporations. Sign up on your PC.
So would
Or
appreciate
Mac.
that.
Yeah,
Also
just-
would
just not the
appreciate
phone.
if you left a review. We haven't gotten a review on Apple in a long time. So
Yeah. Goddamn.
5
Guys.
stars. We'll read some next week if we get any entertaining ones. And Spotify, you just got to leave 5 stars. You don't have to do much. But we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Word of mouth is the best way to get this out. Check out our YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube, Softcore History. And, yeah, that's all I got for Joel.
Yeah.
Coop. Rob.
Bye.
I'm Dan. And you just got soft serve.